Flosstube. I'm Nancy Joy Trower. I'm the stitcher with the laughing face, and this is Flosstube number 29. Thanks so much for stopping back to see what I've been up to for the past month. I had every intention of filming 2 weeks ago either before we left for the wedding or when we got back, and then I got sick. So, of course, life always throws you a little bit of a curveball. But I do so appreciate all of you who are part of my stitchy community and who stop by and comment and like and subscribe. And I know there's a whole bunch actually of new subscribers. So thank you so much. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I actually have a little favor to ask. If you could put in the comments whether you found me through somebody else mentioning me in a video, like on another Flosstube or Instagram, or if you were recommended to me like in your feed, or yeah, that's what I meant. If I was recommended to you in the feed through YouTube. So that would kind of help me out because I would love to be able to expand my followers and contact more of you out there, get some more stitchy friends. And knowing where people are finding me would help me with that. So thank you so much. But I'm so happy you're here. So it has been about a month since my last video. And like I said, I had every intention. I was all set. I was going to record before we left to go to wedding number 2 for our nephews in Wisconsin. We had one in August and we had one who just got married in October. And of course, we left earlier than I expected that day, and which was good because we got on the road earlier. And then I was sick when we got back. So the last time I filmed was right around Columbus Day, Indigenous People Day. And when Vince and Brooke got back from their mom's house for our week, Vince was sick. So he was the one who I'm pretty sure he's the one who got me sick, even though Phil says he didn't, but I'm pretty sure it was him. He had a really high fever. And he always does. Whenever he spikes a fever, his is like unusually high. So we just kept a close watch on him and it looked like a pharmacy in the kitchen because we were trying different medicines to bring the fever down and make him feel better. And so he missed actually like 2 weeks of school with a fever, and then he had a cough. And I thought we were out of the woods because neither Phil and I got sick in those 2 weeks. I was working really diligently on the quilt for Jacob and Jordan and stitching when I could. And I didn't finish the quilt. I'll tell you all that story when we get to the quilty section. So if you're a quilter, you can hang out and watch that towards the end. It's going to be awesome when it is done though. And so we went to the wedding. We had a great time. We drove there 10 hours and 10 hours back. And then we got home that night and I was like, I feel kind of hot. So I took my temperature and lo and behold, I had a fever. So I missed 4 days of school. Plus I missed the day for when we went on the trip. So I missed like almost a whole week of school. I missed Halloween. That's how sick I was. Because you know me and Halloween. It is one of my favorite days. And I even had kids who came up to me after I got back and they were like, oh my gosh, you missed your favorite day of the year. Because we don't really have a Halloween party. We do a harvest fest and the kids go to stations, and I was supposed to be running the Halloween bingo and cupcake portion of the festival. And I had all my Halloween shirts picked out and I was, but such is life. So it could be worse, it could always be a lot worse. But I did have a fever for a few days, called my doctor when I started wheezing. It wasn't wheezing quite so much as like I couldn't catch my breath, but being someone who has sung and who has played an instrument their entire lifetime, when you know when you breathe in, your lungs aren't filling the right way. So when I called the doctor, he did put me on an antibiotic. So I'm assuming it was pneumonia because we actually had that going around the school. We had a couple kids with it. A couple other teachers got it. So I did miss like an entire week of school pretty much. So I was so sick the first day and my students were shocked. My 8th graders were like, oh my gosh, Mrs. Trower. I didn't read and I didn't stitch the first day I was sick. All I did was watch Murder in the 21st from Hulu. I think I watched like the entire season or the entire series. And that is a true crime, using text, using phone calls, using phone data, pinging off of where their phones were. So it was using all of the raw footage and all of the raw data they had with, text and whatever to solve the mystery. And my husband was kind of like, why are you so into that? And I was like, I don't know. I think it's more the detectives, you know, and figuring out the clues and finding the clues and bringing the person to justice who did it. So he was kind of like, I don't want to watch that true crime stuff. He did later, but he turned on The Fall of the House of Usher, and I'm like, but he put on The Fall of the House of Usher, very gruesome. But as someone who loves Poe, and I didn't even catch all the Poe references in there, but I was like, oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. I did just teach The Raven to my 8th graders, so I was like, oh, I know where that name comes from. So that was cool. We also watched Agatha All Along. Loved it. I am obsessed with the song Down the Witch's Road. Absolutely love it. Would love to sing it with a couple of my colleagues at school, because the harmonies when the 4 witches are singing it at the beginning by just a cappella. Oh, I just loved it. And Patti LuPone, I mean, like, she's awesome. So Agatha All Along is part of Marvel. You have to watch WandaVision in order to understand Agatha All Along, but it is really good plot twist, really like, oh, now I get it kind of stuff with that song. Love that song. It was really good. So it's now November 9th. Finally being able to get back to a little bit more of a routine. I was so tired this week, though. I would come home after school. Last night, I got home. I was in my comfy pants with my hair in a ponytail by 5 o'clock. I was just like, I am done. Because the coughing is just exhausting. And I haven't really found cough drops. And I was on Dayquil and NyQuil for like a week. And I was like, okay, enough with that. Can't do that for the rest of my life. But lots of tea. So hopefully that will help. And I'm just hoping it'll just kind of work itself out a little bit. So happy to be here. Happy to be with you again. And got some good stitchy stuff to show off. So let's get to the good stuff. All right. So I don't really have an FFO. This is more of like a fixed FFO. So this is the Primrose Quaker, the Autumn Quaker that they came out with last year. And I think I did it this is on Carolina, which is like my go-to kind of Prim fabric. I can get it at Joann's. I'm pretty sure I did it on the Carolina. I think so. Maybe it's on Flax. I don't know. It's on one of those. But the Carolina, I like it because it has like the raw threads in the weave. So it looks a little bit, it adds to the Prim. I didn't use pumpkin pie from Color and Cotton because they were all out. I think like the whole country was out of Color and Cotton pumpkin pie. So I used terracotta. And I love Color and Cotton, how their variegation is. It's so wonderful. So the reason though I put it together last year and I used this wonderful, fuzzies. There's still fuzzies all over it. Sorry. I love this fabric. Sorry, my shadows are really bad because this room doesn't have an overhead light yet. Still working on that. But this blender fabric is great because it adds without detracting from the stitching, or I've used it in quilts a ton of times too. But when I stuffed it, here I'll lean back a little bit more. I'm not really good at the edges. I don't know. I feel like if you've ever watched Stitch, etc. with Kim and Ashley, whoever does their pillows, I feel like you could use them for blunt force trauma. Like those look like the most solid pillows I've ever seen. They're like so stiff. And I just don't know how to get them that way. I don't use the pellets or anything like that. Maybe I should. But when I first made this one, I ran out of the original fiber fill that I had. And so I bought a new bag. And the two of them did not play well together. It was very lumpy. Didn't like how it turned out. So one of the days that I was sick, I ripped it apart at the bottom where I put my seam in. And I pulled all the stuffing out. Now some of it was stiffer. And so I used that in just the corners. And I put the rest of it in a bag so I can use it. It's going to be my corner stuffer. And then I stuffed the rest of it with the lighter, fluffier polyfill that was the newer bag. So I like how it turned out. I can't wait to put it out. Don't know where I'm doing it yet. Oh, because that's the other thing. I didn't undecorate Halloween until like Monday or Tuesday, and I still don't have Thanksgiving up. And this is the weekend that the first marking period is over. So right now you are my break from grading. I graded one set of papers. I graded their poetry test today. They did pretty well. My 8th graders did. And so I'm like, I'm going to do my Flosstube, and then I'm going to go grade like another set of papers. And then I'm going to take all of my Thanksgiving decorations out and put them on the dining room table so that I can grade something else, take a break, clean the kitchen, decorate the kitchen, and then go back to grading. So I'm not just sitting and grading because I get too easily distracted when you read the same thing over and over and over again. It's very distracting and hard to concentrate. So I'm taking lots of breaks. So you're my break. Thank you. Thank you for being my break. So yes, anyway, where I was like, where was I going? So I don't know where I'm going to put this out yet, but I'm looking forward to having this in my Thanksgiving fall decor this year. So that's really my only FFO. I did have a finish. So in October, my grand plan was to start all the things. I wanted to start everything Halloween because there was just so many Halloween things to start and so many wonderful things. So the only thing I actually finished was the Primrose Halloween alphabet. So this is on natural, raw natural linen from Zweigart, which I need to find more of because I love it. It is so great for anything primitive. And I did switch out their stepping stone that they called for was too light. It was too much the same color. So I went like one step darker and I used trail dust, I think it is, which I had for something else. Now, the funny thing is, I thought this was 32 count. I do not think it's 32 count. I think it's 28 count. It wound up being much longer. Thank goodness I had a bit of space left. So rather than this being in a frame like they did, I'm going to have to do it into a pillow because there's just not enough room up here at the top. But that's okay. I did pick up a really great fabric. I'm looking behind me like, where did I put it? I don't know where I put it. It's a really great Prim looking gingham that I'm going to use for all three of these when they're done. So, but I thought it turned out pretty cute. I liked it. And my original intent was to do 3 days for each of the new starts that I wanted to do. And then I was like, oh, I can finish this one. It's small. And then I didn't finish it in 3 days. It probably took twice as long as that, if even, maybe even more. But I was just like, I'm going to finish the darn thing. I wanted it done. So there we have it. Now, I'm glad that I did finish it first, though, and realized that my sizing was off on the fabric because I wanted to do their Free Friday one, which was the very cute boos, hisses, and cross stitches. I think it's too big for the piece of fabric I have left. So what I decided to do for next year is I'm going to pull out some of the motifs and make teeny tiny little pillows. Maybe some of the things from this one, maybe some from the other pieces, from the boos, hisses, and have a couple little pillows to go in with this one for a dole, like a dole bowl or display. So that was my only FO. And then I have a ton of Halloween stuff because I was starting and just having way too much of it. I didn't get everything started that I wanted to. Part of that was the quilt because I ran into a snag with the quilt that it took a lot of staring, you know, laying all those blocks out on the floor and staring at it for hours on end. That stupid curl. Sorry. Curly hair, mind of its own. Does it all the time. But I did start a couple Halloween things, and on Halloween when I was home, and so sad that I didn't even hand out candy. I put Hocus Pocus on, the perfect Halloween movie. Love Hocus Pocus. And I did like an hour or two on all of my Halloween whips that I had started. And I was like, that's how I'm going to celebrate Halloween this year. I'm just going to stitch a little bit on everything and watch some scary movies and have fun that way. So that's what I did. So the first one that I started in October is the Halloween Enchanted Quaker, or the Luminous Arts Enchanted Quaker. And there's so many Quakers out there. They're all gorgeous. But I loved the raven over here that says Nevermore. And I love the house that the Halloween is the smoke coming out of it. So I started this on Stormy Night, 32 count Stormy Night, which I picked up from my local Needle Workshop. Which also, she was great because I emailed her right before we went on our trip. And I was like, I need this skein and this skein and this skein. And she had them out for me she's got like a big container that you can pick stuff up. So that was awesome. Could be deadly. When I'm like, oh, I need a skein of this. And I just have her leave it out for me. But this is on Stormy Night, 32 count. We're going to go a little closer. Oh, no shadow. And this I'm using the Witch's Brew from Color and Cotton, which is this beautiful, beautiful deep purple color. And so that's as far as I got. I color it in as I go on this one. It is in black and white, which, you know, there's only one thing, but I'm coloring as I go to help myself keep track. I know I made some mistakes in the smoke over here, but I was like, it's not going to affect how the other things line up, and the cross-stitching police are not going to come and get me. But I'm absolutely loving this one. And I do have a plan. So next Flosstube, which I will do in 2 weeks, pinky swear, I will do it in 2 weeks. I am going to talk to you about my plan for like this year. A lot of people wanted to do 24 and 24, and I was all gung-ho about it, and I started it, and I bagged everything up, and I made it to March. And I know that for 25, I have a lot of stuff I want to work on. So I came up with a little plan, and I'm going to share that with you next time. But I'm also going to share, so getting back to Halloween stuff and working on fall things all year is part of my plan. And so I'll tell you about that next time. Like, I'm going to do a hashtag and a Facebook group, and hopefully other people will have fun doing it too. But I'm definitely planning on doing a lot more Halloween stitching all year long next year. All right, so the next thing that I started was the Halloween alphabet, which I did finish. And then after that, I went to the Halloween Quaker. So I think I need a smaller board for this one, but oh well, it's what I had handy. So this is also on the raw natural linen, and that's as far as I got on that one. So that was a couple days plus a little bit on Halloween. And I think that that's going to be super cute too when that is all finished. And then of course I also was doing the other one. The only one I didn't do was the little quilt. I got most of them though. So this is the Salem Sisters Stichery. And I just absolutely love this sweet potato color. It is awesome. And I got an extra skein or two because I'm going to use it on another Luminous Arts pattern, the Spooky Scary Spells, where it's kind of like in a column, and I want to use it for the pumpkin there. So that's how much I have done on that. And these are just super fun to work on. Had so much fun with those. And I may have showed you some of those last time because it was a couple days into October already. And then after that, I still have 2 more things that I started. The Stitch Witch. I just love Tiny Modernist. Her stuff is awesome. And this was, I think, the first one I saw last year, and I bought the rest of them. I have the Yule Goddess, the Stitching Goddess, and the Bee Queen, and I want to do them all because I love them. Now, the only thing I'm doing on this differently is I switched the color of her vest with this color of her skin. I don't know. I'm a green-skinned kind of witch girl, like Elphaba. Just, so that's the only thing. This I am doing on, I think it's 28 count Molly. And I bought the Molly originally for the Bee Queen and never got around to it. So I'm doing the Stitch Witch on here. And then I'll just have to go get more Molly. But look at her dress. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so much fun to work on this one. So you can see I started where I did the vest and switched her skin color. But just beautiful. So much fun. And then the last thing I started is going to be enormous because I didn't have the only thing I had in the house that was a big enough piece to fit it on was just 28 count tea-dyed linen, which will be great on it, but it's going to be really big, but that's okay. There's actually a lot of blank space in this pattern. This is Halloween and cross stitches from Cuore Batticore. Love her stuff too. Oh my gosh. And how cool that you can order stuff from somebody in Italy and it just poof in your inbox. But I bought this one last year, and she's another one with just a gorgeous, gorgeous dress. So I actually started this one. Normally I am a start in the middle kind of person. That's the way I learned 40 years ago. So for me to not start in the middle is unusual. But with this one, knowing how big the piece of fabric was going to be, I figured that if I started over 2 inches and down 2 inches from the top, then I would, whatever I have left in the bottom, I can probably use for a small, for something else. So this is what I have done for her so far. And it is going to be huge, but that's okay because where I plan on putting it, I have a collection of witches and they all go on top of my bookcases in my dining room. I have 2 6-foot bookcases next to each other, and that's where I display things. So that's where my witch collection was. And so I figured if it's really big, you'll be able to see it because it's going to be up high and it's going to have the witches around it and it's going to be lovely. So those were all my Halloween starts, and I do intend on working on them throughout the year. So then I also had my Welcome Home Fall. Sorry, I just need a little bit. This is, you can call me Queen Bee is what my mug says. I got that at Joann a couple years ago. So I've been working on Welcome Home Fall for a while, and it's so tattered. It's a good thing it's just a PDF. I can print another copy if I want. This is my license plate list. As we were driving, I write out all the license plates and cross them off as we go because it keeps me alert doing that. And then actually my husband will also look for stuff too while we're doing it. So I started this much earlier in the summer. It was supposed to be my car stitch, and then we wound up Phil hurt his back, and I had a problem with my foot. I had plantar fasciitis, and then Vince was sick, and then I was sick. So we just haven't been out doing as much. But we were in the car for 10 hours on the way to Wisconsin. So this is what I worked on the way there. And I discovered that I had a slight problem. There we go. And I'm doing this on black Aida because I was kind of like, let's just see how the Aida works in the car. And it works pretty well. I like it. And honestly, on something like this, you can't really see that it's Aida. Like, you're just going to see the pattern. I know I'm an Aida snob, and I don't do a lot on Aida. I do, especially if it's, you know, like one of the big sampler things I'm going to do on a linen because it looks more time appropriate. You know, they didn't have Aida when young girls were doing their samplers. They were all on linen and it even weaves. But now that we do have Aida, why not? So a couple things that I've had to change. So the blue is actually really tealy because I had it on hand, but I've kind of fussy cut the floss. So I use the lighter pieces for the windows and the darker pieces for the sign at the top. Now my problem that I wound up running into is that the caramel and the gingerbread that it calls for, I think I flipped them. I think I took them off the tags, and as I was working, and I didn't put them back on the tags correctly when I was working on it once. But like, that doesn't really matter if you're consistent. If one color's one through the whole thing, who cares? But the problem was that there's not enough contrast. So when I started doing the roof, it didn't look like a checkerboard. It just looked like the same colors. So I used what I think is the caramel here. And then I was kind of fussy cutting and trying to use like the lighter portions for the leaves. So it was a different color than the tree because it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like the colors weren't quite working. So I'm going to use a darker brown for the other part of the checkerboard so that it does look like a checkerboard on the top. So, but this is coming along pretty nicely. I would like to have this one done this month because I would like to have it out. I have a very cool frame. I think Priscilla used it for something for Christmas. Which I could still do because it has like that arched window that looks kind of, or the arched top, it looks like a church window. But I want to use it for the different welcome homes. So on the way back from Wisconsin, I wanted to start the November month to month because I have most of the other months done and I wanted to get this one done, and I loved the colors. They're really, really pretty. So this I'm doing on the cracked pine board, 14 count Aida. And that's where I am so far. And I'm going to finish this thing this weekend if it kills me because I want it done. I want it up. And there's other things that I want to move on to. But I did do some of this while I was sick. And I did some of the other one while I was sick as well. So that is all the stitching that I've been doing in the past month. I do still have a few things that I like to do for November. Sorry, as you see the back of my curly head there. So here's some plans. I know there's not a lot of time left in November. I mean, it's already like halfway through November, and I do need to get on to doing some Christmas stuff. But I want to spend a week working on the Bittersweet Boulevard. It is so pretty. just so pretty. So I have a piece of thin white pine board, 28 count Monaco, which was in the box of goodies from Kay Helland, who sent me just so much amazing stuff right around my birthday. So there's the thin white pine board, and I think it'll be lovely with the houses. And then there are the colors. Oh, and for the November, my store was out of black coffee. So I decided to use the Blackbird, which is what they called for here in the Bittersweet Boulevard. And I thought for the November, it worked really well because it has a little bit more of like a brown tone to it, and it went really nicely with the other colors. So that's going to be the Bittersweet Boulevard. And I want to do like a week. Try to get that going at least. And then the other thing that I want to start is the Give Thanks house from Primrose. Now last year, Nettie showed that she had done them. She did a couple of the houses on like 10 count. And sorry, I'll turn my head. I did the Halloween one last year. I ripped it apart. I sewed the pillow together, but it was crooked. So that was one of the things I did while I was sick, was took everything off. I actually did this over 3 because I liked the idea of it being really big. I thought that was cool. And over 3, why not? You know, like, again, there's no cross stitch, please. I did it with glow in the dark for the ghosts, and I used some of this. I used sparkly for the little spider. So for this house, and I think this is one of the ones that she showed being done bigger, I'm going to use this awesome fabric that again was a gift from Kay Helland. This is 20 count. Oh shoot, I don't have the rest of what it was, but it was 20 count, like a natural raw linen. So I'm going to do this one over 2 so that it is much bigger, and it's almost like canvasy. I think it's really cool. And I think the colors will work really well on it. I think I'm still missing like one color, but that's what it's going to look like. I think that's going to be really, really cute. So I'd like to get, and I would also like to start Annabella's, I bought her It's Finally Fall book, and it's super, super cute stuff in it. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe because Thanksgiving is pretty late, so even just saying like, oh, I'll just stitch fall right till Thanksgiving, then I'm going to cut myself. I'm going to wind up in trouble for Christmas. I do have a bunch of Christmas presents that I want to do this year. Last year, I'm going to insert a picture. I did little pillows from Pinker and Punkin for a couple of my friends at work. Like some of them got like 1 pillow or 2 pillows. I did a whole set for my niece and her partner. And so this year I need to do like the next excuse me. Oh goodness. So this year I want to do like the next pillow in the set for my friends at work. So I have 6 people at work that I need to make little pillows for, and I don't have my own set yet. So I want to do some for me. So tomorrow when we're watching football, I'm going to get everything gathered, and I'm going to get started on doing the Prim ornament or the Prim pillows. And I thought, you know, even in November, if I just work on them on Sunday while we're watching football, that at least get me started, and I can still maybe try to finish up the other fall stuff. Next time I will show you all of the wonderful Christmas stuff that I have. I have a couple whips, and I have a whole bunch of stuff I want to start. I have some cool haul for that. I bought this really awesome frame at Hobby Lobby. It's in my car. But when your middle name is Joy and you see big things that say Joy on it, how can you resist? So I'll show that to you next time too. I do have a little bit of haul. On the day that I went to go pick up the Bittersweet Boulevard, when it came out on Priscilla and Chelsea's Etsy shop, there was something else that popped up into my feed, and I was like, oh, let me go check this out. So that was this adorable house. Look at how stinking cute that is. I'm trying to get the shadow not in there too much. Yeah, there's some back stitching on it. It's no problem. That's fine. So when I went to the website, which is SA Stitches or Saw Stitches, her name is Alexandra Zimorina, and I think she's from Poland, which is very cool. So I got this one, but she was having a sale. And the sale was buy 5, get 50% off. how could you not then? So I also bought this one. And this one. And my plan is to stitch them in a little row. So they're a little neighborhood. I also picked up this one because it's a house with a book. So, yeah, had to have it. But that's only 4. She also has Christmas houses. So I picked up a couple of cute little, she had cute little Christmas houses that are just like little houses decorated. But then she also had these little gingerbread houses. So I got this one. And this one. And this one. 2 stinking cute. So that's SA Stitches. I'll put it in the show notes below. But SA Stitches, and she does have sales. She's got lots and lots of cute little houses. Oh my goodness, they're all so adorable. Just too cute. All right, so that is my haul. All right, so I think that's everything for cross-stitching. Like I said, I'll show you some Christmas stuff next time, because 2 weeks from now, I should be good if I stay on it. Should be like the 23rd, I think, and that by then I'm going to be into full-on Christmas stitching. I didn't even watch Hallmark when I was sick because they've already switched to Christmas movies, and I'm just not there yet, but it's getting close. It's getting close. I think once I start working on the Prim ornaments, then I'm going to be like, oh, all the Christmas everything. So, okay, so now we're up to the part where I'm going to show some quilting stuff. So if you're not a quilter, I'll see you next time. See you in 2 weeks. Thanks so much for watching. If you are a quilter, just hold on because I have some stuff to show you for that too. All right, so at our school last year, we decided to do Secret Boo instead of Secret Santa. December is crazy busy. I mean, we're a Catholic school. So we've got concerts and shows, and there's just constantly stuff going on, as most schools are. So we decided last year, let's do Secret Boo instead, because it would be fun. It wouldn't add to the stress of the holiday season, but it would be fun. So we did it again this year, and I got one of my very dearest friends who I think is getting ready to retire. So I was super excited that I got her. And had my 2 weeks of cute little gifts with the little clues. She guessed it was me right away. And my third gift, of course, I wasn't there that week to give it to her. And I wasn't even capable of making it for her because I wasn't feeling very well. So last summer, when I went through my my stash and I put everything into my closet over here, I found this table runner, like, done. There you go. You can see the whole thing. So I found this in my stash and I was like, I'm going to quilt it and give it to my friend. So that is one of the things that I hope to do this weekend when I'm done with all the grading. It is a long weekend. We do have Monday off. So I intend to spend quite a bit of time in this room on Monday. So that is for my friend Nina, who I just love. She's like my work sister. All right. So then here is Jake and Jordan's quilt so far. Part of it anyway, what you can see. All right, so here what my problem was. There's some, you can see. That one looks really awesome. I like how the green pops it. So here's what I did. I made 42 of these square in a squares. So I had big patterns for the middle, and then I had cool other patterns for the 2 squares to go around it. The problem that I ran into is that my machine, love my Singer machine over here, you can move the needle from the center or over to the right or the left when you're sewing. And I usually have it over like 2 clicks to the right so that when I'm doing a seam, I can run the fabric underneath the foot and have my perfect 1/4 inch seam. For some reason, sometimes, I don't know if it's the vibration of the machine or what happens, it moves back over. So it's in the middle. So now instead of a perfect 1/4, it's more like a generous 1/4. And as you know, that does not help when you're trying to get everything to line up. So I actually spent like a couple days trying to figure, so I had a whole bunch of squares that were not 12.5 by 12.5. They were more like 12 by 12. So I had a couple days where I'm sitting there looking at, I'm gonna stand up and hold it for you. I love the pink ones with the cowboy hats. That's so cute. So I was standing there looking at it like, what am I going to do? How am I going to make this work? So what I decided was to add the sashing, as you can see here. So I put the sashing on every other one. So on some it's makes an L to the side, and then some it's on the top. So that way, when you, let's see, there you go, you can see a little bit more of it. They're not going to line up perfectly because of the sashing, which means that if a square is slightly smaller, it's not a big deal, because with the sashing on, I can cut everything so it's exactly 13.5 inches, whether or not the center block was correct. So this is going to fix it. Unfortunately, I only got 2 rows of it done before we were able to go and before I got sick. So that is another thing I'm going to be doing. The back is going to be flannel and just really big blocks of color, because I didn't find a Halloween flannel that I liked and that was soft enough. I like really soft backs. There we go. So that's Jordan and Jake's quilt. They seemed excited. I told them at the wedding that it was like, your present's not done yet, and they were both like, it's okay. And I asked Jordan if she wanted to see a picture of it, and she's like, nope, I want to be surprised. So that made me feel happy, because they must have seen what the other nephew and his bride got, and I don't know if they knew they were getting a Halloween one or just that they're getting a quilt too, and they seemed really excited about it. So I got to get on that after I finish grading all the stuff. Yay. Which is what I'm gonna have to go do now. Yay. I still have a set of book reports to grade. I have a set of journals to grade. My 8th graders have to write in journals. And then I have a bunch of papers from library from different classes that were just like little assignments on how to use the OPAC and that kind of thing. And then I have a whole bunch of like random regular homework assignments, like vocabulary definitions and whatever other little homework things for 8th grade. So it's like, broke them up into sets. I'm going to get done. Probably took longer than I expected to get everything else done today, but that's okay. Having the extra day is really awesome. But that's what I'll be doing this weekend. Grading, decorating, and sewing like crazy. Hopefully I'll get November done so I can put that out when I do my decorating for Thanksgiving. Hopefully I can get the welcome home done this week, and then and get started on some Christmassy stuff too. So I hope you are well. I hope you do not have the crud that I have had, or any other crud. I hope that you are warm and cozy as we're in the time of year where we start to get darker earlier, and you're using that as a good excuse to just put your light on and stitch your little heart out, for stress relief, for all the stuff that's going on around us in the world, and whatever you might have that your stitching brings you some joy. So thank you again for spending some time with me today and checking in on me to see what I've been up to. Thank you to all of those new subscribers. I'm so glad that you're here, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Pinky swear. Happy stitching, everybody.